Hai, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Iliana binti Muhammad Mahdi. I am from Uni PAKK1 June 2023 intake. Today, I would like to present about young learners and English as second language. So, let's move to the contents of this presentation. First, this presentation contains definition, which I divide to two: definition of young learners and definition of second language. Secondly, there are stages of how young learners picking up English language. There are 3 points which I will describe one by one as clear as I can. Thirdly, there are ways of teaching English as second language. There are 8 points that I will describe it. Lastly, there are importance of learning English as second language. So, let's watch this presentation. Move to the definition of young learners. In Oxford Dictionary, young means having lived or existed for only shortest time. Also, in dictionary.com website, they stated that young means being in the first or early stage of life or growth, youthful and not old. So we all know young means right now. So what learner means? Learner in Britannica Dictionary means a person who is trying to gain knowledge or skill in something by studying, practicing, or being taught. Other than that, learner also means a person who is learning a subject or skill. For example, like me, I am a learner. This definition is stated in Oxford Dictionary. So, if we combine young and learners, it becomes young learners. So, what the definition of young learners? Young learners mean children roughly from the age of 3 up to 11 or 12 years old. We can say that young learners, basically they are in the age of 3 until 12, and after 12 we call them as teenagers. Unlike adults, young learners display differences in physical, our body, for example, psychological, social, emotional, conceptual, and cognitive aspect. For example, like social skills, writing skills, cooperative skills, and all skills. So, in my opinion, young learners can be stated as beginners. We can call them as beginners who are in the first step of learning something. Okay, just now we already know about definition of young learners. So now I will explain about the definition of second language. In Cambridge Dictionary, they stated that second language is a language that a person can speak that is not the first language they learn naturally as a child. For example, like we our first language is Malay. So, second language is not the language that we learn naturally when we are child. Next, in dictionary.com also they stated that second language is a language that widely used especially in educational and governmental functions in a region where all or most of its speakers are non-native, as English in India or Nigeria. Why they call it was widely used? It is because we know that second language is a platform for foreigner to communicate with us because they don't speak our mother tongue, Malay, right? So they use um, English to make sure that we can communicate with them. Okay, for information, learning second language is optional, but it brings a lot benefits to learners. For example, like if we want to go studies abroad, right? We don't need to learn the language again because we already learn the language when we are in younger age. So when we want to study abroad, we can just speak the language fluently, right? Okay, so in reading Rocket, also they stated that learning a second language after a first language is already established. Um, yeah, that's true because we learn first language first. After the first language is already fluent, then we will learn the second language. Okay. Lastly, Dr. Muhammad Enamul Haq stated that second language acquisition or SLA is the process of learning other languages in addition to native language. So I can conclude that second language is um, another language that we learn after we already fluent the our mother tongue language. Little that we know that there are stages in picking up English. So, what are those stages? First stage, there are silent period. Silent period are usually when babies learn their home language. There is silent period when um, they look, they listen, and they communicate through facial expression or gestures before they actually begin to speak. When young children learn English, there may be a similar silent period when communication and understanding may take place before they actually speak in any English words. So during this time, parents should not force children to be part in spoken dialogue by making them repeat the words. Okay, so where um parents should use parentheses to facilitate learning the child who may use many of the same strategies they use in their learning their home language. So stage 2, beginning to talk. After some time, depending on the frequency of English sessions, each child will begin to say single word, for example, like cat, monkey, house, already made short phrases. What's that? It's my book. I can't. That's a car. Time to go home. So, in dialogues or unexpected statements, I did some research where they say that girls usually uh, catch up faster than boys in single words. Alright, so uh, we can see that here the child has memorized it. They imitating the pronunciation exactly without realizing that some may consist of more than one word. So these stages continues for sometimes as the child picks up more language using it as a shortcut to dialogue before they are ready to create their own phrases. Last stage, which is building out English language. So here, children are gradually build up phrases consisting of single memorized words to which where they add words from their vocabulary, for example, like dog, a brown dog, a dog and a brown dog, or a single memorized language which they add their own input, for example, like that's my chair, time to play. So depending on the frequency, uh, depending on the frequency of exposure to English and the quality of the experience. So from here, children will gradually begin to create whole sentences. That there are many ways of teaching young learners that can language. One of them are turn lessons into songs. How to turn lessons into songs? As I know, the songs that I learned when I'm in school, when I learned about A, B, C, F, G, I, C, M, N, Q, R, S, T, W, X, Y, Z. So, in that way, children basically memorize the alphabet, the English alphabet. So, it will make fun learning. It will make the learning fun, right? Okay. So, if teachers want to teach them about vocab, grammar, and dialogue to get attitudes, they can try to listen to YouTube song. If there is any song that they can use, they can put the information, the pocket info into the song. So they can use the song as lessons to children. For example, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, you can put in the song. Can you use that song to introduce about vocab, grammar, right? Second is they can create visual diagrams to illustrate new vocabulary. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. These are whole lot easier to point on a smiling stick man than to write on a vocabulary list. Visual devices provide a double whammy too. Students can enjoy coloring or even adding pictures while also absorbing the new words that they are learning. Like so, highlighting, underlining, circling are all common tricks adults use to recall snippets of information. So, creating visual diagrams is the same basic idea so that the little ones can start to visualize what English looks like actually. So as a bonus, students can more easily locate learning aids with distinct colors and illustration among their borders of messy papers. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally or PEMDAS. This is mnemonic devices to memorize grammar rules. Mnemonic is a popular method device for recalling the order of operations in math actually. But when it comes to teaching English to children, memory aids make it easier to remember hard to spell words or complex grammar points. Whether that means creating mnemonic devices in students' native language or breaking it down into simpler English words. But the goal remains the same: better memory. Number 4, ones also can do spontaneous or consistent dialogues throughout the lessons. For example, like what did you do this weekend? By kicking off class with an expected question, you can get your students thinking about what they will say long before class even starts. So natural dialogues also introduce students to everyday vocabulary relevant to their own lives and interests. This, without further ado, can help students to actually widen their vocabulary, and then after they knew the new vocabulary, so they can take the input into their bank of words, so they can actually apply into a daily routine. Number, break up solitary study sessions with games. Honestly, childhood education without game is like chicken wings without seasoning or sauce, because you simply can have one without the others. Games are especially effective teaching method for young learners, because kids are able to learn without realizing it when they playing games, but they are actually learning. Yeah, active games let them expel some bottled up energy, and quiet one's challenge can require concentration. Actually, games is really effective to children, to kids, because they will eventually memorize. They will become easily to memorize the topic that we are learning. Another ways is review vocabulary through role playing. When I was in my primary school, my English teacher used this technique when in our lessons. And for me, it was very effective way to teach students, because I understand how to actually use the vocabulary in sentences correctly, how to actually use the vocabulary in our daily communication, daily routine. Other than that, role playing also build up students' confidence, because with confidence, they will actually, without they realize, they will use the perfect subject verb agreement and conjugation in their communication, or maybe in English lesson, without they realize. So confidence also important in these lessons. Number 7, repeat previous lessons in every class. Why they need to repeat? It is because children won't retain as much as information as adults. So repetition is the key in English lessons for young learners. So teacher, rather than call it a day the class lesson and moving on after a test, be sure to pack every class with tons of repetition from lessons before, because this can help students to actually memorize the vocabulary and grammar, and also they can combine the vocabulary and grammar, and make a perfect sentences. So we can see that students actually understand and memorize it. Last point for these ways of teaching young learners second language is get out of the classroom. As a student, get out of the classroom is the best part of learning, because we don't want to stuck in classroom, right? Okay, for example, like if teachers bring their students outside to do activities outside, it will make the learning fun. For example, like if they bring students to visit a zoo negara, so from them, students will actually learn, see through themselves. Oh, actually tiger looks like this instead of in the picture, so they can make the differences. Oh, before this I saw at the pictures tiger looks like a bit little bit smaller, or maybe they say, oh, tiger actually in the picture they saw the tiger and the cat in the same size, but whenever I went to the zoo, I saw that tiger actually bigger than cat. Maybe they can make a differences like that. So we know that they already introduced to various variety of animals. We already know many ways of teaching young learners second language. But do you know there are challenges for young learners to learn second language? First challenge, there are lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is the major barrier of success to young learners. This is because they felt insecure and they don't have the confidence to speak up because they insecure with their language skills and make them hesitant to speak up in English. So this can lead this can lead to lack of participation and opportunities practice. So teachers should play a big role here where teachers should address this challenge and create a supportive and positive learning environment. So from there, students will gain their confidence and don't be hesitant to speak up in English in class. Second problem, there are limited vocabulary. This is one of the most challenges that most of the students face. Okay, limited vocabulary. Limited vocabulary usually will make the student struggle to understand spoken or written words because they don't understand the vocabulary. They are lack of bank of vocabulary. Also, without vocabularies, they will struggle to actually express their feelings and to maybe write an essay. So teacher needs to overcome this problem maybe by doing one day one word. So students will learn new words every single day and their bank words will full. Number three, there are pronunciation. Yes, pronunciation. This actually related to lack of confidence because some students they have a problem to pronounce some words in English. So from that they don't have confidence to speak up in English. So I think from here teacher can make an exercises for listening and reading so that students feel familiar with the English sounds. So they can pronounce correctly after that. Last challenge is challenging to learn how to think in another language. From what I understand from this point, it's if they are a beginner for learning the second language, they will face a problem where they need to understand the second language words by using the first language. For example, like we understand Malay, right? So for second language, we need to understand the words by know what does it means in Malay. For example, like mother in Malay, it means ibu. So if it's only one word, so what if there are sentences? They are in sentences. It will make younger students to hard to understand. They will have a difficulties to understand um, the second language in our first language. But I think this problem will slowly solve after young learners became fluent in English. Maybe not fluent, maybe they understand the English words. To the last slide that I will explain importance or benefits of learning second language. Number one, they can improve memory skills. As stated in Montessori Academy website, they say the human brain is capable of storing a massive amount of information. This also said that it can memorize a library full of books and recognize the names and the faces of people we have just met once or twice. So, learning a foreign language, especially as a child, it can help to build a stronger neural connection between the right and the left side of our brain, which results in better memory skill. So, they say that that's why bilingual children are much better at problem solving, planning, and concentration, they say. But with an increased capacity to memorize information, they will be able to remember things in their day-to-day lives much easier without even trying. Secondly, they say that learning a second language at an early age can help them to understanding other cultures and values because it is said that a child who knows more than one language they can understand the message of different cultures with more ease. It is also can keep children to be open-minded to other races and nationalities and allow them to accept the differences between the different cultures as something positive and normal. Number three, improve listening skills. It is believed that a child who learning a second language at an early age, they will be able to listen with greater clarity because this will help them learn better and make it easier for them to understand the questions and answer of the people around them. They also will be able to seek out the main points from someone's speech and understand more of what they are saying. Also, they will be able to follow others more easily and learn more about foreign countries. For example, I can say like a foreigner came to us and they ask question and we can answer the question. If yes. Number four is confidence to learn more languages later on. Learning a second language at this early age will give the young learners be more confidence to learn another language later because it will help them better understand in grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. And after that, they will be able to communicate with fluency and have better understanding of the world around them, which will make them eager to learn other languages. For information, this also can open up a very great opportunities for them later in life. Next, it will make them easier to understand written words. Learning a second language. This can help learners to develop better written communication skill with ease. Why I say if they learn second language, they will understand written word. Because when they are in young age, they already start to learn the second language. So after uh, they growth, they will understand the written second language, the written word in second language more easier because they already learned that. This also can avoid them from being scammed. That's all for my presentation today. Thank you for lending me your ears and time.